This is commentary.
Fox News spoke to agents across the border and asked, would a wall or a big steel fence work? The answer?
Now what can we all do to stop this terrible crime? We can face the truth. It does exist, has done for some time. We can help support the people who give solace and give care, who start the healing process and then show there's someone there, giving solace to the victims, making right this dreadful wrong.
Build that wall!
I don't think that's correct. Is it?
Hey everybody, Roger here. I want to talk to you guys today about just a follow-up video to the one I just published. It's in regards to convenient propaganda. Okay, so what we're seeing right now in media is the shamelessness of using children as propaganda pieces, and not just any children. Children being depicted in scenarios that are false, and the media backing it up.
We didn't know, nobody using this photo knew on Monday or Tuesday that they had not been separated.
Well, we knew according to the government they had not been separated. But I just wonder about the use of this photo and whether you all discussed whether it was the appropriate one to symbolize the family separation policy.
We discussed it, as we discuss every cover, and we felt that, I felt that, and we felt that, I felt that, and we felt that, I felt that.
Fuck facts, just listen and believe.
This photo symbolized this moment in America. She became the face of this debate, of this crisis, and juxtaposing her with the person whose decisions, in whose hands her fate was held, I thought was a powerful, important statement of the decisions we have to make as a country.
So I'll go ahead and get with it here deeply, but I'm going to go ahead and describe a couple of the scenarios first before I break down like why I see issues with this. And you should all be concerned, because this is basically saying that oh, you know, it's okay that we can depict these children like this and we can use them this way.
And juxtaposing her,
because it is happening. Well, you can't say something is happening when you can't supply the evidence for it.
And juxtaposing her,
you're supplying propaganda pieces. You're supplying things, kids in scenarios that are not true.
And juxtaposing her.
But yeah, you're saying, oh, it's happening, so it's true. It's okay for us to do that. No, that's taking information that's taking scenarios that are otherwise telling a different story and using it for a completely different purpose. So, anyways, the first scenario is an image of a girl, which I think has already made headlines. We all knew it was going to make headlines. I tweeted the guy, the photographer from Getty Images. I can't recall his name right now, but I tweeted him, and I think I'm probably shadow banned on Twitter right now because nobody's responding to anything except some of my followers and people who I directly correspond with. So that's interesting in itself. But I contacted him and I said, I think it's pretty shameful that you're allowing Time Magazine to use your image in a way that is not representative of what really happened in the scenario with that little girl. So I'm pretty sure you guys are probably bored of hearing the whole story of exactly what happened, but I'll go ahead and relay it here in no time, or quickly. A mother and a daughter, a young girl, about 3 or 4 years old, looks like, they were being searched by Border Patrol and a photographer. It was the last photo he apparently had taken for the night. The photographer, or the Border Patrol agent, the female who's going to Border Patrol agent who's going to be searching the mother, says, can you please put down your daughter so we can perform our search. It's mandatory, whatever. Puts down the daughter, and of course, you know, after they travel 1,600 miles, they're not Mexican, they're Honduras. They're from Honduras. After traveling 1,600 miles and not knowing where the fuck she is, of course this girl's gonna cry whenever she's not safe in her mother's arms. Sad. I mean, it's very fucking sad, of course. But the way that the image was used, by Time Magazine and by Getty image guy himself saying, you know, allowing it to be used that way, was that Trump will treat all America, all people either requesting asylum or coming in here illegally, inhumanely. Far from the truth.
Fuck facts. Just listen and believe.
Not even what's happening. And the narrative rolling out right now is pretty much a desperation cry by the Democrats to try to recruit more people against Trump, to try to recruit more people against, more importantly at this point, against Republicans in the midterms, Republicans and independents in the midterms. And it's gonna fail horribly in their face. Right now it seems like they're winning. I mean, there are a lot of people who don't think for themselves, who actually blurt things out, like Jose Antonio Vargas.
I actually won a part of a Pulitzer, so I am actually a journalist.
Which we'll get to in a bit. Post first, verify later guy is what I'm going to call him now. The Pulitzer Prize winning journalist.
You claim to be a journalist. Maybe you could explain, since you're in the explaining business.
Well,
what does
Tucker,
that mean?
I have a Pulitzer.
Because hold on.
I actually won a part of a Pulitzer, so I am actually a journalist.
Well, then I'm highly impressed.
So, anyways, so the mother puts her down. She gets searched for a couple of seconds by the Border Patrol agent, and then she's able to pick the daughter back up, and they leave together. The husband confirmed this. Now, granted, if the husband in Honduras, who was left behind by his wife, he did not want her to leave, but she left on her own volition, took the daughter with her. I think they have 2 other daughters and another son, an oldest son and 2 other daughters and that young daughter. If it wasn't for him telling his story, saying that was his wife, this probably wouldn't have been exposed like this. And thank you very much to YouTube content creator Free to Speak for being the first person that I saw this information from, and then leading me to my research on it. Wow, you did an excellent job covering it. So kudos. More people should watch that video that she posted as well. It basically outlines everything. So anyways, if the husband never came out, this would have been still shown as Trump being mean, separating families. Nobody would have bothered to have realized who the daughter and the mother were. And the narrative would have been, oh, Trump is horrible, and it would have pushed the narrative even further. Dangerous. This is the price. This is the price of false journalism. This is the price of using images of scenarios, images or videos or content of scenarios, and misleading the public to thinking it's something totally different. You're angering people. You're not doing a service to journalism. You're coercing people to think to be persuaded by your agenda. You should definitely be stripped of the title journalist from here on out. Especially you, Mr. Pulitzer. I win a Pulitzer. I won a partial Pulitzer.
You claim to be a journalist. Maybe you could explain, since you're in the explaining business.
Well,
what does
Tucker,
that mean?
I have a Pulitzer.
Because hold on.
I actually won a part of a Pulitzer, so I am actually a journalist.
I know they like what they see. They do. They do. They do. I'm a little attention for.
I actually won a part of a Pulitzer.
I'm a little attention for.
I am actually a journalist.
So look at me, talk about me, think of me, do you like what you see? So look at me, talk about me, think of me, do you like what you see?
I actually won a part of a Pulitzer, so I am actually a journalist.
Well, then I'm highly impressed.
Jose Antonio Vargas, you piece of shit. God, whatever. So anyway, and again, the photographer here is also a piece of shit, and Time Magazine, you're a piece of shit. There have been so many places standing by their ground. You wonder, like, why are they doing this? I kind of think it's influence. You know, Time Magazine is standing by it, by their decision of using the image in that way, because they're saying, oh, it depicts it.
Photographing this for me was very different this time, because although the families didn't know what was coming next, I did. In the case of this girl and her mother, I did not know what would happen to them.
Whoa, what?
Although the families didn't know what was coming next, I did. In the case of this girl and her mother, I did not know what would happen to them.
Nothing that you said makes a goddamn bit of sense to me. Are we fucking clear about that?
Well, you're being fake. You give more credibility to the term fake news to be used against you now. So anyways, that's the first image being used disgustingly. I used it in my last video. It's kind of funny the way I used it with Alyssa Milano in there. Anyways, so now Jose Antonio Vargas. Oh, the main man of the night today for my video. Jose Antonio Vargas tweets. Mr. Jose Antonio, Mr. Pulitzer Prize winning Vargas tweets out an image of a boy in a cage with the caption, "This is what happens when government believes people are illegal. Kids in cages." Well, that sent idiots into a frenzy. Then a couple minutes later, I don't even know if it's a couple minutes later, maybe an hour or 2 hours later, after thousands of people liked Jose Antonio Vargas's pre-assumed tweet, already assuming it's true. Again, dangerous scenarios with journalists thinking that they can publish things without verifying them initially. It's dangerous. And this goes in with my argument from my last video. People will believe anything and not question. They won't even come back for the retraction. They won't even come back for the correction. You've already done your damage, Jose Antonio. You fucking piece of shit. So, he posts a response saying, I don't know, I haven't validated this image, so if anybody knows who, what the story is behind this, please let me know. Again, you guys, this is why I'm saying, these journalists don't give a shit about retracting. All they care about is the fact that somebody's going to see their initial tweets, their initial stories, their initial reports, their initial videos, their initial footage, content, and run with that. And they will never come back to see the corrections. And even if they were corrections, they already have in their mind, because of their pre-assumed hate for certain individuals, Trump in this instance, their hatred for him, they're not going to care. They're going to say, oh, well, he's still a bad man anyways. It's going to worsen, 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 worsen. So, the photo, and anyway, somebody responded saying that the photo was taken by a guy named Leroy Pena. Leroy Pena states that it was a staged protest organized by this group called the Brown Berets, and the Brown Berets had a staged protest on June 10, 2018 in Texas. A staged protest, and this kid was put into this cage with a couple of other people, and signs, all around the gate, all around the cage, showing, showing this as a fake example of like what Trump's America would look like or whatever. So the image that Jose Antonio Vargas posted, it was a close-up, cropped image of this kid behind bars. And you can see a couple of other bodies behind the kid, so it made you think that, okay, this has to be a legitimate picture. Could fool the average user just by looking at it, not wanting to give a shit about the true story or what's surrounding the kid. What's really going on here? Then this other Twitter user immediately says, oh, can you validate this? Because can you please give us the whole story behind this image? Because Republicans will not believe it's true, even though it is. Oh, that tweet's going to go down in history as the stupidest one ever. Because then somebody does post. Oh, she got a lot of likes. He got a lot of likes on Twitter. And again, that's the problem. People want to believe these falsities, and they don't care if the truth is shown to them later on down the line. They're still going to believe the non-truth because they just have disdain. They just have the hate. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about the truth. That should concern you people. It means that people like to live in their own echo chambers. People don't like to be delivered the truth. People already have a pre-assumed assumption about Donald Trump, and they want to live with it. There's no hope for people like that. People, you can give them the truth time and time and time and time again. The mainstream media is winning on this. They know that people are stupid enough to just go with a feeling over facts, and that's what they're banking on. And they're banking good right now. So now overall, here's where I see the issues. There's so much celebrity influence. We have Ron Perlman getting likes for sharing this, and all these other people who are like, oh yeah, you know, Ron Perlman knows. You have fake journalists, incredulous journalists now, like Jose Antonio Pulitzer Prize winning Vargas, post before verifying. You have people like him being an influence and then clouding the fact that he's a Pulitzer Prize winner. I don't know what the fuck you need to do to win a Pulitzer Prize, but apparently it's not much. Apparently all you have to do is just lie. Apparently you have to not do investigative research before you publish anything. All you have to do is brag and be an illegal immigrant, to brag about it on Tucker Carlson and just posturize. That's all you have to do. Just pose. The other problem with this is this. You think you allowed Trump to cave in, and again, I saw the Amazing Lucas's video where, you know, Trump did play everyone, myself included, by basically not changing anything, you know, regarding the stances that he's taken with illegal immigration and asylum seekers. He's going to follow the law. You know, so his executive order really doesn't do much. Doesn't really do anything. It just follows the law. It says he's going to follow the law. So Congress, it's on your feet now, buddies. The issue here is this, though. There's another issue. Kids are trafficked. Kids are being used. Kids from Mexico, Honduras, South America, anybody making the trek over to try to gain asylum or illegal citizenship, you'd have to call it that at this point, because they're being granted, you know, our tax dollars to live. They're being on their journey, on their treks, if they're traveling alone, or, you know, or if they have a paid coyote or whatever. These kids are going through atrocities. They're going through hell. You know, one story of a young woman, a young girl, 12-year-old, screaming at night because she was raped multiple, countless times every night, being used by disgusting, evil, horrible, sick men. And those are the real victims in all this. You guys think, all you leftists, all you people who are anti-Trump, you never Trumpers, you pussy-wearing hat people, you think we hate people in general. You think we hate. I'm of a Mexican origin, obviously. I am American born. I don't like seeing this happen to anyone, people of my color, of my background included. White people, black people, Mexican, Hondurans, Middle Eastern. I can't. Any injustice to anyone that violates an individual's right, not rights, but an individual's, I guess worldly right to live, not legal right, but worldly right to being left alone, to being them. It's sad. It's very sad. I think everybody in the world, good-hearted people, understand that it's disgusting that what's happening to these kids. They're being threatened. You know, when they come to the States, I'm pretty sure some of them are being used for labor, and these traffickers are going to keep them in their, you know, as we've seen in reports, they will keep them housed in unsanitary conditions, take them out when they need them to go to work, collect their money, use and abuse these kids, and probably when they're not needing to be used anymore, throw them over the border again and bring them in to act as kids of other people wanting to come into the country, other adults wanting to come into the country, and the cycle continues. This is what you guys are supporting. This is what you leftists and you supposedly caring heart people are supporting, blindly. The majority of you blindly, but the majority of you are looking at this in a blind way. There's a good portion of you, though, that are willfully ignoring those facts because you want to believe something else, and you're the dangerous ones. So the fabricating of reality with symbolism over facts. So again, you know, these images are now being ruled by these news outlets like Time Magazine, People Magazine, Getty Images, as being okay to use because they symbolize what's going on. The scenario portrayed by the capture of them might not be true, but it symbolizes what's going on. Okay, if it's symbolizing what's going on, why can't you fucking prove it with the real images, with the real footage, with the real documentation? Because you have a narrative. Because you have a narrative. And that's why it's dangerous. You're giving a false pretense, and your journalism card should be taken away from you. At what point, leftists, at what point anyone falling for this shit, do you just start hating being lied to, hate being deceived? It sounds like you love being deceived. It sounds like everything in regards to the scenarios, it's all about deceit, but you love it. You love it. All because you want to be force-fed this idea that Trump is a bad person, that his administration are bad, and all they're trying to do is just follow the laws as they were written, and not and use as little executive decision as possible. I wouldn't go for it. I think it's a bad idea. I think that having Congress work things out, have our elected officials work things out is the way to go. And Trump, I see you trying to do that, having them work. And we as people need to stop voting them in. You see why it's important to know what's going on instead of just clicking the D. Clicking the D. You're getting the D when you click on the D in voting ballots. So, anyways, you got to think to yourself, like, how many times do you enjoy being cucked and being lied to? Mexico is due for a revolution. This people coming into America illegally or looking for asylum. Again, you look for asylum, you do it the right way. You're not going to be treated this way, for the most part. I'm pretty sure there's going to be rules to follow. Obviously, there is. I mean, when a Border Patrol agent, when ICE is going to be looking at these families, and they separate the children, Alyssa Milano, guess what? This is what happens. They have to separate them to ask them questions. If the questions of verifying, hey, do you know what your dad does for a living? What is your dad's name? What is your mom's name? How long have you known your mom? What does she do? And, they ask all these questions to try to see if these kids were actually are being abused, are being used, etc. And if it's determined by asking all these questions that they're not, that there's probable cause of them not being the true parents of these children, they're going to be separated. Now, wouldn't you appreciate that kind of precaution? I would. I wouldn't want to put these kids back into the hands of these criminals. I mean, look at it from the minds of the children. They're probably thankful that they're being asked these questions, especially if these are bad people. So there's reasons behind what you guys assume is madness and disgusting antics. Give a little bit more appreciation for these people patrolling our borders, and also trying to take care of these people coming in. They are actually good people. They're not in it to hurt people, American or foreign or illegal or otherwise. They have an oath to the law, and that's what they're following. And again, you got MSM. You guys are disgusting. I don't know if I have anything else to say here about this. What are your guys' thoughts? I would really like to hear from people who are actually never Trumpers, Trump haters, who think that Trump is doing a bad thing. As much as I love hearing from my core audience, I would really encourage you guys to share this video to open the eyes of people who that might actually be still thinking that Trump is bad and he's a bad person and he's hurting families, separating families and whatnot. Please share it. If not this video, another video that's similar that you think that portrays the message of what I'm trying to explain here. I'm probably not doing a great job of it. I understand that, but I'm at least putting the information out there for at least some people to see. It's a little bit more than what a lot of other people would do, so I'm putting myself out there. God, I sound like an attention whore now.
Hey everybody, I'm Roscoe. Yeah, I think I love myself. Ew, how ugly.
So anyways, what are you guys' thoughts? I'd really like to hear them. Like, share, hate, subscribe, don't subscribe, diss me, whatever. Let me know your thoughts. As usual, love you guys, take care, peace out.
I actually won a part of a Pulitzer, so I am actually a journalist.
If you say it one time, I'm going to hit you with this. No.